In the ruthless world of outlaw motorcycle clubs, loyalty isn't just expected, it's everything. The patch you wear on your back? It's more than just fabric. It's a symbol of commitment, a badge of honor, and an unspoken oath sealed with blood. To betray that code is to sign your own death warrant. This is the true story of how a full-patch member of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club, named one of the most feared outlaw biker gangs in the world, turned his back on the Brotherhood. All for a stack of dirty cash totaling $300,000. He didn't just betray his brothers, he betrayed the entire system. And then, he vanished. But in a world where secrets don't stay buried and betrayal demands payback, how long can a man outrun his past? Let's rewind. To understand just how big this betrayal was, you need to understand the culture of the Hells Angels. They're not your average biker gang. With hundreds of chapters worldwide, from California to Canada to Europe and Australia, the Hells Angels operate like a military organization. Structured, secretive, and lethal when crossed. Members go through a grueling process just to earn the right to wear the club's patch, the infamous death head. First, you're a hang-around. Then you become a prospect, where you're tested, challenged, and broken down. If you make it through, you're awarded full patch status. That means you're trusted, you're respected, you're family. And family doesn't steal from family. But Richard "Steele" Durant did just that. Steele was a full-patch member of the California Nomads, one of the most secretive and dangerous charters in the Hells Angels. Nomads don't belong to one city. They move around, answering only to national leadership, handling the club's dirtiest business, enforcement, protection, sometimes elimination. Steele was big, loud, loyal, or so they thought. He rode hard, fought harder, and handled all sorts of dirty jobs without asking questions. In the outlaw world, he had a reputation, but behind the scenes, he had a different life, one full of problems. Steele had a gambling habit, one that spiraled out of control. He owed money, a lot of it, nearly $90,000 to loan sharks in Las Vegas and Reno. And in the world of illegal money, you don't get payment extensions. You get warnings, then consequences. Desperate, drowning in debt, and falling out of favor with club leadership, Steele saw an opportunity, a one-time score that could wipe his slate clean and maybe even let him disappear. The opportunity came in the form of a drug money transfer. The club had been running a pipeline between California and Nevada, and Steele had inside knowledge of a specific drop, one involving $300,000 in untraceable cash. The money was supposed to be picked up outside of Reno by a junior associate and driven back to Vegas, where it would be cleaned through a network of shell companies. Steele volunteered to escort the associate. On paper, it made sense. He knew the route, he was trusted, and he could ensure everything went smooth. But in Steele's mind, it was the perfect setup. When they got to the safe house outside of Carson City, things went south fast. The associate, a young guy named Mickey Torres, stepped into the bathroom and never came back out. Steele followed him, pistol in hand. It's believed he knocked Mickey unconscious and tied him up in the back of a stolen SUV. By morning, Mickey was found alive, zip-tied, bruised, and dumped on a side road near Reno. The car was torched. The $300,000? Gone. And Steele, nowhere to be found. The Hells Angels don't call the police. They don't do press releases. But when Steele vanished with their money, the club mobilized instantly. Word went out to all neighboring chapters. Steele was officially in bad standing, the harshest status possible. It meant he was no longer protected, no longer family. He was a target. Flyers circulated in underground biker bars. Messages were passed through cartel connections. Every border, every highway rest stop, every associate was told to be on the lookout. Steele had betrayed the patch. And in the outlaw world, that means only one thing. You're a dead man riding. At first, the club assumed he'd been caught by cops, but weeks passed, then months. No arrests, no sightings, no body. Steele had completely vanished. That's when the rumors started. Some said Steele had fled to Canada, using old biker contacts in British Columbia to lay low. Others swore they saw him in Cuba, living under a fake name. drinking rum and flashing stacks of cash. A few even whispered that he had done the unthinkable, made a deal with the feds. And that's where this story gets darker. In late 2021, the DEA unsealed a major indictment against several California and Arizona HA chapters. The case was built on surveillance, undercover work, and the testimony of a mysterious confidential informant known only as CI number 4539. This informant gave up everything: club hierarchy, drug routes, drop schedules, even names tied to past violence. And curiously, he knew intimate details of the exact Reno drop that Steele had intercepted. The timelines matched. The knowledge was too specific, and just like Steele, the informant had gone missing. Insiders in the outlaw world began to connect the dots. Richard Steele Durant hadn't just robbed the club, he had flipped. He took the $300K, gave the feds what they wanted, and secured a spot in witness protection. Or worse, had gone dark using a network of enemies the HA never thought he'd turn to. Some believe Steele offered the information to the Mongols MC, the Hells Angels' longtime enemies. If true, that would mean Steele wasn't just a traitor, he was a ticking time bomb, and whichever club found him first, Angels or Mongols, would want him dead. One for betrayal, the other for bringing heat. Meanwhile, former members and biker historians say the club has a long memory. The Hells Angels have waited years, even decades, to settle old debts. And when they do, they don't make headlines. They make examples. Steele's betrayal didn't just hurt the club's pride, it cracked their operational security. After the heist, money routes were rerouted. Younger members were frozen out of sensitive jobs. Trust, once the cornerstone of their culture, became a liability. One anonymous insider described it best. After Steele, you couldn't even go on a cash run without someone riding behind you, watching. Everyone became a suspect. And the older guys, they got paranoid, real paranoid. A few even speculated that Steele's betrayal triggered internal purges, quiet removals of members thought to be disloyal or too friendly with outsiders. Clubhouses went dark, routines changed, the walls closed in. But the most haunting possibility? That Steele is still alive and watching. In early 2023, a tip came from a bartender in Ensenada, Mexico. He claimed a tall, bald American man with faded skull tattoos had been visiting his bar for months. Quiet, alone, always paying in cash. He wore sunglasses at night, never spoke Spanish, always sat facing the door. Authorities couldn't confirm the sighting. No fingerprints, no footage. But the story made its way back to the club, and once again the hunt intensified. The Hells Angels aren't just chasing a traitor, they're chasing a ghost. And in their world, ghosts don't get second chances. The deeper you dig into this story, the clearer it becomes. This wasn't just a theft. It was a calculated, cold-blooded decision to burn every bridge, erase an identity, and gamble that the road ahead was safer than the club behind. But for men like Steele, the road never ends. Every gas station is a risk. Every knock on the door, a bullet. Every face in the crowd, a possible reaper. The patch he once wore may be gone, but its shadow never leaves. Even today, Steele's story is passed around in hushed tones at biker bars and among prospects. It's a lesson, a warning. That loyalty to the patch comes before all else, and that money, no matter how much, is never worth the price of betrayal. No one steals from the Hells Angels and lives easy. No one. In the world of outlaws, there's a saying, blood in, blood out. It means that once you're patched in, the only way out is through death. Steele tried to rewrite the rules. For $300,000, he thought he could buy his freedom. Maybe he did. Maybe he's out there somewhere, watching his back every day, knowing that even one mistake, one photo, one old friend, one wrong move could bring the hammer down. Or maybe the club already found him, quietly, efficiently. Maybe that's why no one's heard from him. Because in their world, revenge isn't loud. It's silent, it's personal, it's permanent. In the end, Richard Durant didn't just betray a club, he betrayed a code. And in the outlaw life, there is no greater sin. Once you wear the patch, you live and die by its rules. And for $300,000, he lost it all.